Hi, everyone. Welcome back to Adair Live. We'll be hosting these every week, featuring experts from the home building industry to help you learn the ins and outs of building your dream home on your land. My name's Carrie Montoya. I'm the marketing manager here at Adair, and my co-host, per usual, is Jay Sowers. Jay is a wealth of home building knowledge, so I thought he'd be the perfect co-host for today's Ask Us Anything. How's it going today, Jay?
It's going good, Carrie. I don't have too much to complain about.
Yeah. Ready for the big game tomorrow?
I am. I am. It's very exciting that we are into the playoffs, hopefully the Seahawks can come together here and pull something off against the 49ers. But I'll just cross my fingers and my toes on that one.
Yeah, I'll be enjoying watching my husband squirm during that one. So today we're going to be talking about on your lot home building, the process just in general, answering any questions you guys might have around building a new construction home. We'll be monitoring the chat, so let us know where you're watching from, tell us where you're building or thinking about building, let us know what stage of the process you're in. No matter where you are, we'd love to hear from you. We'd also love to answer any questions you have about building on your land, financing, new construction, design, site evaluation, site development, just anything you can think of. We'd be happy to talk about it. So go ahead and put those in the chat and we will get rolling here. So Jay, just overall, what does it mean to build on your land?
Yeah, so I would say from a holistic point of view, that comment means that the builder is not owning the land, and we're not talking about a potentially a subdivision build, right? So when Carrie says things like, build on your land, right? What comes to mind is ultimate flexibility. And here at Adair Homes, you may own a subdivision lot, okay? You may choose to purchase a subdivision lot, or the opposite could be true. You might own acreage. You might be, you and your spouse might be desperately looking for that country living, acreage. But at the end of the day, Adair's business model, just like Carrie suggested, we build on your land, right? Our business model is not such that we own property and you are forced, quote unquote, to choose a lot to build on.
So do I have to already own land to work with Adair or another builder that does on your lot?
I'm not sure about other builders. I think it's important to interview any builder that you're looking at building with, but I would generally say that the answer is no. No, you do not have to own the land. So even if you're thinking about building, and in your heart you just know that picking home number 7 in a subdivision just kind of isn't quite right for you and your family's needs, I would say get out there. Get a hold of some builders that specialize in on your lot. Even if you just have a conceptual idea of what you're trying to accomplish. If you were to book an appointment with quite frankly any builder that does on your lot, my hopes is that you'll be able to understand and gain knowledge and insight on what it's going to take to pull together that project specific to your budget, long before you ever start making offers on property.
Absolutely, that makes sense. So for somebody who's building for the first time, say you definitely want new construction, you don't want an existing home, but the on your lot process seems like it's maybe a little more complicated, or there's more to it than just going with a builder who does subdivisions. Can you share with us what some of the advantages of choosing on your lot are?
Yeah, so I have a lot of thoughts on that. How long is this meeting? So my first thought is going back to flexibility, right? Building on your lot is definitely not easier than just choosing a home for a builder to put on a subdivision lot. But I think that we can all guess what all of those advantages are, right? When it comes to building the home that you want, customizing the home exactly how you want it. Building a home on property in a location that fits best for you and your family, right down to orienting the home on that property the way that you want it oriented, right? Rather you're, super sensitive about energy conservation and I want to put in a solar system so my roof has to face south and all the solar gain conversations, or no, that's just a really cool view out that side. I want my great room facing that way. Flexibility is going to be first and foremost. Generally speaking, Carrie, I will say from a different lens, what happens is that if you're going to pick a home and have a builder just simply build it, right, not doing the on your lot program, this isn't entirely true, but generally speaking, those builders will price their homes based on today's current market value. So if you would like this 3,100 square foot home on lot number 47, right, generally speaking, the purchase price of that home is defined by what the market will bear. Okay. Congratulations, you move in and you have no equity, right? Because you just purchased the home at its current appraised value. Generally speaking, when it comes to the on your lot program, financially, normally all your costs, if you will, are actually based off of costs, right? So how much is the cost of the land? How much does it cost to develop that property, right? What is the builder that I'm choosing? What are they charging me for their services to build? And then generally, Carrie, when I add up all those costs, okay, there is a margin of what some of us would know as equity, right? So it is a little bit more cumbersome. There's a little bit more decision making that goes into place. Timelines can be generally the same depending upon where the subdivision builder is in process, but normally there are greater opportunities for equity, right? When you're doing a on your lot program. So just at a very high level, those are a few benefits between the two.
Well, equity can be really important, especially in the crazy market we've had.
Oh, that's insane. I know.
So you touched on this a little bit, but it seems like there's a lot of elements that go into the total project cost. Can you give us like a high level overview of all the parts of our total project cost?
Absolutely. So generally when it comes to developing a lot and doing what we're considering here is a on your lot program, we can always break it down into three parts. Okay. The first being the land, right? So even if you own the land, well, do you own it free and clear? Do you still owe 40 grand on it or 120 grand on it? Right. So specific to cost, the first cost will always be the land. Okay. The second cost of the three is always going to be your development costs, right? So is the lot flat and is it a hayfield or is it really steep and there's a bunch of trees on it, right? Is it a city lot with utilities or is it an acreage lot that needs to have utilities brought in? So developing a property is where the builder will work hand in hand with you, hopefully on a complementary basis without any cost involved, to truly understand what that second of the three, which is developing the property, right down to building permits, right? What are the costs to develop the property? And then Carrie, the third bucket is always the home or the structure itself. So am I building an 1,100 square foot home? Am I building a 4,000 square foot home? Do I have very modest or typical amenities in the home, fit and finish? Or have I just gone off the deep end with all the options and upgrades? So at the end of the day, just to recap, you have land, developing the land, development costs, and then the physical home that you and your builder are wanting to place on that property. You combine all three of those together, and are we in budget? and now let's start having financial conversations.
The budget's always the fun part, right?
Well, it's definitely a necessary evil, I can tell you that, because all of us have a budget.
So we do have a question from Misty. Hi, Misty. Misty asked, aging in place homes. I'm looking to build a semi-wheelchair accessible home. Is there a big increase to doing this? I'm looking to build the smallest 2-bed, 2-bath home, and I've been working on designs.
Thank you very much, Misty, for that question. And I will say that no, there shouldn't be any increased, to use your word, substantial increased costs. Normally, when it comes to aging in place, you would want to work with your builder. In this case, I would ask that you please book an appointment with one of our offices, because what does aging in place mean to you? I would say that at a very high level, homes, other than the entry door, which is 3 feet wide, okay, all other interior doors in a typical home are 2 foot 8 inches wide. Now, some are 2 foot 4 inches wide or 2 foot 6 inches wide, depending upon if it's a bathroom or a closet. But for bedroom access, it's all 2 foot 8 inches wide. So one of the first things that you would ask of your builder is, specific to mobility, right? For wheelchairs, it would be one of those things where we would want to say, okay, all my interior doors, I would like to be 3 foot wide. Make sense? So for wheelchair access, it's just a no-brainer. The home is now quote unquote accessible. However, we can take it a step further. And when you talk about aging in place, what about showers and bathroom needs? And is a typical shower okay? Or maybe we want to do more of a ADA accessible shower. Totally fine. So again, Misty, working with your builder on truly defining what your needs are specific to aging in place is super important. And any builder that you work with should be able to pull those costs together in a very seamless manner before you make any decisions on moving forward.
Absolutely. We've definitely done a lot of modified homes like that, and even some pretty cool modifications. I saw one recently where the customer had a wheelchair height cutting board set into their island so that they could easily participate in cooking and other household tasks. So
yeah, and like lots of options there, because really cool things about doing on your lot is, what about the landscaping and like steps coming up to the home? Like, if you do a on your lot program, you're going to tell the builder, hey, hold on, I don't want 1 or 2 steps up to that front door. I want to pour concrete in more of a ramp fashion up to my front door. Again, from a cost perspective, not a big deal. We're just pouring concrete, but it's just, do you want steps or do you want more of a ramp style? So all great reasons again, Misty, to engage with a builder that will do on your lot.
Absolutely. And there's always, if budget's a real issue, other concessions you can make to get those structural modifications that you really need.
Yeah.
So as far as cost goes, do I need to provide my own financing?
So generally speaking, there are some customers that come to us and they want to use cash carry. Other customers come to us and they need or require financing. I would say that any builder that you work with should have their own resources for financing. I can speak specifically to Adair Homes. We do have our own personal lending partner that we work very closely with, Adair Financial Services, and they specialize in construction loans specific to on your lot construction. So here at Adair, it really is one-stop shop. But I would say that even if you chose another builder, that builder should also be able to give you very good, I would hope, give you very good financial resources for looking at construction loans.
Absolutely. So we talked a little bit about site development and the different parts that go into on your lot building, but as a really busy professional, if I don't want to participate in my build, is there an option for that, or do I have to participate?
Well, and I would say, Carrie, that's where, during your meeting with your builder, I would ask that you get very clear on, if I'm going to do a build with you, right? And I'm going to sign contracts with this builder. We want to get very clear on what are the customer's responsibilities, right? And I think that, a lot of builders have very different processes, different levels of customer engagement. Some builders put a lot on the customer, where other builders take everything off the customer's plate, but yet there's a charge for that service. I know that here at Adair Homes, we have some flexibility there currently for customers that want to manage their own site development, and we have programs for those customers that would choose not to manage all their own site development. But great question. Really meet with your builder, and when you're prior to making a decision, just get clear on what your responsibilities are as the customer for that cost.
Absolutely. Misty has one more question about aging in place. She asked, do you supply a checklist for the customer to go over, meaning aging in place items such as no steps into house or garage, wheel-in shower, mostly lower kitchen cabinets, etc., so that nothing gets missed?
I will say that no, unfortunately, Misty. I believe your question is specific to Adair Homes. We don't necessarily have a checklist, but one of the things that we do is, we're not very good at selling homes, but we're very good at meeting with customers and understanding their needs. And so I think that all of those things will organically come up as you would go through what I would consider our normal process of understanding what floor plan works best for you. How do you want to modify this floor plan? And as we go from room to room, Carrie mentioned the kitchen and, having kind of lower access cabinetry or cutting shelves or things of that nature. These are all conversations that could come up. And again, it all goes back to budget as well, right? And where you as the consumer would want to spend the money. But my apologies, we do not have a specific list that says, here, Misty, these are the only things to consider for aging in place.
Perfect. So now I'm going to ask your favorite question.
Oh, hit me with it.
How long does the process take?
That is my favorite question.
I knew it.
So it is dependent on a few things. Okay. I would say that, but I'll just cut to the chase. On average, please allow your builder about a year to get the home built. Okay. I would say not by the time you meet with the builder, but when you're ready to sign contracts with your builder. Okay. Once you sign contracts, the normal process that all builders have to take, from funding construction loans to applying for building permits, waiting for those building permits to be approved. Okay, now we are developing the property. Okay, congratulations. As soon as the property is developed, now we can commence what's called vertical construction and start on your home. And then the average build cycle being 6 months, 8 months, 9 months, depending. It's one of those things where I would ask each customer to honor your builder and allow them 1 year to get the home built. That being said, there are areas and jurisdictions that can go faster. And then there are also jurisdictions, as an example, up around King County in Seattle, where the permitting process could take substantially longer. But just on average, let's go with 1 year.
Absolutely. And if anybody wants a more specific answer to that question for their region, our sales team and construction team can definitely answer that for you during your initial consultation. They can let you know what those averages in your area are. They definitely vary by jurisdiction. So Speaking of jurisdictions, does the builder submit permits, or is that homeowner responsibility? How does that work?
Quite frankly, it just depends on the builder, and it also depends on the jurisdiction. I know that a lot of the families that we serve, because we don't own the property, the customer owns the property. Therefore, the customer is the applicant of the building permit. So builders like Adair Homes, what we'll do is we'll put the entire building permit application together for the customer, including everything, even the cover sheet to the county. And then it's just the county wants to hear from the customer because they're the ones that own the property, right? So the customer then just applies for the building permit. In a subdivision world, not a on your lot world, okay, the builder, right, owns the land. And so now the builder is obviously applying for all those building permits. So it's, again, Carrie, that kind of goes back to one of our initial conversations of, just get clear on what your responsibilities are during this building process specific to your builder, because every builder does offer different levels of customer service and ultimately customer experience.
Absolutely. I think the other part of our process, or on your lot in general, that can be really daunting for people is the site development portion. Can you give us a little bit of oversight on what goes into that, how you're supposed to collect bids, and who's responsible for kind of moving that work forward?
Yeah, absolutely. I would say, Carrie, that is arguably the most difficult, confusing piece, because I think we can all agree land is, if you don't own land and you found a piece of property you like, ooh, I'll make an offer on it, right? It's not really negotiable per se. The home should be simple with the builder. How much does this floor plan cost? How much do these options and features cost? Okay, great. But when it comes to developing property, how much does it cost to excavate this property? I don't know. We're going to have to get an excavation bid. Okay, all that to say is that any true on your lot builder that is serving the customer, the process should be something like, let's go out and let's schedule a meeting on the property. Okay, let's go get eyes on this property and truly understand, as you and I are both standing on the lot. Okay, what floor plan are you wanting to build, generally speaking, and what is your vision of this property? Okay, now that we have all that information pulled together, we can kind of draw a visual of what we're trying to accomplish, otherwise known as a plot plan. And now we can have educated conversations with excavators and septic installers, well drillers, building jurisdictions to truly understand what it's going to cost. I will say, Carrie, that it's not a mystery and it's not rocket surgery. Okay. Every single property, I promise, requires excavation, water, power, sewer, building permits. Okay. So yes, there is, going back to Misty's original question, there is a checklist for this. Site development has a very specific checklist. You just need to team up with your builder prior to signing contracts to understand how much these very specific things are going to cost on your lot. And that would be, generally, it's a very straightforward process.
Well, I think that's all of our questions for today. But if anybody's interested in learning more about our home building process, we have a virtual Building 101 seminar coming up, I believe, on the 20th. You can register for that on our website at www.adairhomes.com/events. Thank you so much for being here with us today, Jay.
You bet.
And we will see you all next week on Adair Live.